Here we are at the harbor town of Middow, and this is one of two towns in the Adventure of Link that is not actually named after one of the sages from Ocarina of Time, or vice versa. There's a few things we can do in this town. Right away, you can talk to the woman in red, and she will refill your health, and then we can continue walking to the west. You can enter some of the houses, and this man here says, "Ask Air of Ruto about the palace." Now if we actually head back and speak with the character known as Air, who we met earlier in another village, he will actually give us some extra advice. It's not really needed though. You can talk to this little kid. The island palace in the south has a raft. Okay, great, we'll be getting that in a bit. If you look, there's this like little church-like building. If you use the jump spell, you can actually jump to the top area and then enter into it looked like a church from the outside, but from the inside it's just like any other one of these houses. And this one actually has a knight, not an old man or wizard, whatever. And he says, when you jump, press downward to stab. And this is basically the downward thrust. This allows you to hit enemies that are on the ground, pretty much. So it's rather useful, and we will be using it very often. A key thing is not to abuse it, because people get like down thrust happy in a way, and they try defeating every single enemy with it, and it actually hurts you more than it helps you. Continue along, and once you get to the next screen, talk to the first woman, and she says, "The water of life, quick, come with me." This is the water of life that we just got from one of the caves, and this is the woman we need to bring it to. And now this is more like the classic house with the old wise man in the basement just sitting there, and he is waiting for you, and he says, "This magic word will give you power." And basically this is the fairy spell. And basically what this does is when you use it, you literally turn into a fairy. And while you are in a fairy, you can float around, and this means you can reach high areas which we previously could never reach at all, even with the jump spell. And we need this in order to get to the third palace, which is still a ways away. But you can also use it and fly right through locked doors inside palaces, so that's kind of useful actually. But that's pretty much all we need to do in the harbor town of Middow. So exit the town, and now we want to head back west, and we can finally just about go to the next palace. There's a boulder over here that blocks a cave, and now that we have the hammer and the down thrust, we can go through and we can kill the muse that are on the floor here. And here we got a Goria, and this one's throwing a lot of boomerangs for whatever reason. But the end of this cave will bring us another new heart container. Now with this next heart container, this brings our total life to 6 hearts. There's 2 more left we can get, but they're still a ways in the future, actually much in the future, back all the way until we reach East Hyrule. There's really nothing else to do in this cave, so backtrack and exit. We can now head to the west, where we will find another cave. I ran into a series of enemies here who there's both a blue or 2 orange Gorias plus a Megmat. This is a more difficult one of these sequences, but it makes for some good experience points. At the moment I'm at level 4 for all 3 of my abilities, and you should be around here at this point if you've been following along. The goal is to get 3 more upgrades by the time we complete Medora or Swamp Palace, basically. So the norm is usually if you have 4 with the sword, 5 with the magic, and 6 with the life, or any combination of such. If you don't, it's a good idea to try to just spend time in the overworld just defeating enemies over and over, because you want to upgrade now rather than later when it is much more difficult. This cave that I just went through, basically at the end of it is a points bag with your final reward of 200 points. So make sure you get that. and there really is nothing else left to do inside of this cave, so backtrack all the way to the left and exit the cave. From here, if you head just south, there's this safe area in the middle, and it actually contains a red magic jar, and I just got it and I filled up my magic. This next swamp-like area, the scenes are not too difficult. It's just a bunch of Octoroks here if you go through the easier of the scenes, so it's free experience points. It's a good way to level up. Just keep heading to the west, and eventually you'll see the palace just to the west there. And I ran into a scene just before it, but enter into the palace and join me for the last part of Chapter 2, where we will tackle Swamp or Medora Palace.